This is the Realty Classroom Podcast, episode number 56. Are you delivering the right message to the right market at the right time? Are you a real estate agent with an entrepreneurial spirit who wants to turn your job into a business without sacrificing your whole entire life, but you just can't seem to find the right plan to help you get there? Well, then, hey, you're definitely in the right place because I'm just like you. I'm Danny Griffin, the founder of the Realty Classroom and the host of this podcast. And to help you take immediate action to build a better real estate agent business, whether you're starting from scratch or you're already in the business, I've created what is a free jumpstart course over at freeagentgift.com. That's freeagentgift.com. Now, again, be patient with it. It is the what to do in order to make you think. So I don't really care where you're at in your career. This is more to provoke you to think about how things really work. I think that's the best starting place. I wish somebody really sat me down and taught me that early on. But in this episode, let's talk about this subject. Are you delivering the right message to the right market at the right time? If you want to go back and listen to the last episode, I talked about the marketing mistake. But it made me go do some of my own homework. And that's what I love at the beginning of the year, is that I really dive in to reset myself, to make sure I'm not the problem. And what I mean by that is oftentimes we will figure something out, we'll get the right answer or a great direction to move in. There's some pragmatic evidence, practical evidence or empirical evidence from the real world that it works. We'll start and we'll stop. And we'll say, remember what I did last quarter of 2018 and I stopped? Why? Why do we do that? Well, I think it's because we stop thinking strategically. We get all excited for the tactical and the technical. And the next thing you know, all we're talking about is transactions or lack thereof. And that's an ugly place to fall into. So I want to get back to this marketing thing that really is a big global starting point that can reorient us or get us started in a very important direction. The first point is, where is your market? Where is it? I mean, if we're going to figure out the right message to match it, where is it and who are they? Now, I know I've talked about this a lot in this podcast, but I'm talking about it with a different vigor today, saying I have more people send me in my mastermind group or beyond. They send me a question about marketing, and it's surprising at how little definition they've given to whom they're speaking. It's sort of like, well, I just need transactions and that's off I go. You hear that from top producers all the time, just looking for more transactions, and they're making all these market decisions nebulously. Meaning what? Well, I started that way. I was all over Cape Cod, and I've said this before, you could go tip to tail and it would take you 2.5 hours. It's a shorter drive to Boston. Right? It's absurd. But that's what I kept saying my market was. So I think it's really important to define that marketplace. So if you want to look at a map and you want to look at my own book, you can look at Cape Cod as my primary spot, downtown Boston as my other primary spot, and you can really see where these areas are when I say them. Go look for the village of Osterville. Go look for the area called Beacon Hill in Boston. They're very small, dense areas. When I say dense, with transactions, there's multiple transactions that go on in either place. Now, if I want to expand out from that marketplace, I need just go to the Back Bay right next door, which is contiguous, or I just need to go to Cotuit, the village next door, the other way. So you see, that's definition of market, and it's giving yourself a sense of geography. But then the next part of that is who. I mean, there's all sorts of people in these marketplaces that you're chasing, but who is the ideal avatar, the ideal client, the buyer, the seller? What do they look like? Who are they? And I know it sounds corny when you first hear develop your ideal client, but if you don't, then you're going to have a problem with the next piece of this. And that's, to whom am I speaking? So in other words, well, what do you mean, to whom I speak? Anybody who wants to buy or sell in Osterville, in Beacon Hill? No, not anybody. Not anybody, because this is about marketing. So remember, we have to go out and market what service we have that believes solves a problem for these buyers and sellers in these geographies. So you need a vision for that person. To whom am I speaking? I mean, for example, the greatest public speakers can imagine that audience and their particular needs before they ever go there. They're acting as if that performance is already happening as they practice. They can see that person. And the best advice I ever got was see the ideal person and speak to that ideal person so that the whole crowd is getting that ideal of your message. Okay? Very important to understand. I mean, I know it sounds simple, but have you really ever sat and thought about that, especially all you rookies coming into this? Don't just let the tail wag the dog and have people tell you what to do. Figure out where you really want to do business and with whom. right? I mean, if you're comfortable with first-time home buyers, you have an affinity for one because you just were one, then that's what I'm talking about. Where are the first-time buyers renting in that geography? If you want to talk to move-up people, where are all the folks walking around with baby carriages and young babies? And where are they moving to where those seniors might be moving out? See, it's important to know the who, because you have to get this message that matches them, okay? Now, how do you start to craft that message that matches them? You ask a simple question. What do they want? What do they want? What do they want? Not what you want to tell them. I can't believe how many great producers in my mastermind, when we start to talk about, well, what would you say if you were in front of somebody? I have this, I do this, I have this resume. It's amazing how quickly we fall to this weird defensive place when we're marketing ourselves into trying to brag. And I know most of these people aren't intentionally wanting to be that person at all. It's just a weird default when you don't think about this stuff correctly. But if you think about what they want and you see them as the hero, and then you position yourself in your mind as the guide, it's so much easier to start there. Stop being so white-knuckled to get the result without any kind of process for the consumer. That's just not good business. In any kind of business, it's not smart. So think about what they want, right? And then the next point here is give them what they want. Give them. So in marketing, if you look at the internet, what it's done is it has forced all of us to give. It's forced it. See, in the real estate business, the access to MLS was so proprietary for so many years that people had to come to you and you could control that relationship to a large extent because you were the clear gateway to the information, meaning the properties. And by the way, that's what they want. When somebody's looking to buy, they want properties to look at. When somebody's looking to sell, they want to know what's sold down the street so they can begin to make a value judgment. And these days, the algorithm for online evaluation, although I think there's some dangers in that, they like that too. Ask Zillow. Psst. Right? How they're doing with that little algorithm thing. So again, you have to think first about what they want and give it to them. And I know some of you will cringe when you hear this, or there'll be some other guru who says, oh, he's crazy. Well, really? It exists. And that's what the internet has done to everybody. You must give something away that they want if you want to begin to magnetically attract them. I talked about that the last time. You want to magnetically attract them. You don't want to go over pursue them. That's the marketing, the core of the marketing mistake. Is over pursued. So this is a little bit more about the how. The more that I can see what they want, I can package that up, right? So let's talk about that a little bit more in practical terms. What does that mean? Well, that means when somebody's out there on their app, on their phone, and they're looking at open houses and they're looking, you might have this perception that they're all set. I hear that, well, what are you talking about? The consumer's all set. All these big technology companies are doing it. And so what do? You just lie down in the road and let tech run you over as if you have no way to compete? Come on now. Look, we are individual real estate agents who are marketing our service. So that very thing is contrasted against just online access on a pretty website that populates information. Right? See, a lot of what's been given away by the tech companies are now major brokerages. I even do it myself. We can give a lot of information, but who said ever that information was so perfectly portrayed online that it just made it so easy for the consumer to make a buying or selling decision? It's absurd. Think about that for a second. Take a beat. Have you ever really gone online and done some research and said, well, I'm all set. I know exactly what to do at exactly what price. Come on now. And now we're talking about this huge financial transaction. And we're not talking about a commoditized product here. Most homes, and that's what most of these people we're talking about are looking for, a home, have these different characteristics. There's all these emotions. I'm busy with my job. I have kids. Remember that move up? Mom walking around with a couple of people, dad walking around, little baby on his back. Those people are living in chaos. And just because they're walking around with the app and the kid's throwing up on their shoulder, right, doesn't mean that the app made everything easy. They need you. They need you. So, what if you could interject yourself in that chaotic situation and say, look, I know that you're running around looking at all these properties on your application, but what if I opened up a door directly to the source? What if I, as a realtor who has access to MLS, opened up a door, took down a little bit more of your exact criteria in your exact neighborhood, and I had that go directly into your email? I'm not saying stop using the applications. I'm not saying stop going online, but I'm saying, let me just help you. Let me get this organized a little bit more for you so that at your convenience in your email, just in case it gets missed through syndication, here are these properties sitting there as soon as they come on. That way you don't have to open up your app in the normal course of looking at email communication. There it is. And you can just take a peek. And then from time to time, what I'll do is I'll follow up and be a little bit more proactive. I might know something off market. I might know something that's coming back on the market. I might see something that's overpriced. All that is insightful information, and it's what they want. See, everybody does want help from one of us as a real estate agent, a realtor. They want the help. They just don't want to ask you because they know you're going to make the marketing mistake and over pursue them and bug them. Think about that. Okay, there's a tremendous need for guidance when it comes to buying and selling real estate. And people want not just the properties, but they want some insight about that. But what they know and they've become accustomed to is that so many undertrained salespeople or people who just don't know what to do, they're attacking, and you're scaring these people away. And your perception is, well, they didn't want that. They didn't want me. And they just went on. No, do it correctly and watch the difference, because I've done it correctly for years. It doesn't mean that it works with everybody. There are still those people that don't want this. And this is the last point here. You have to make your offer if their timing is right. See, that offer for access to MLS properties that are for sale or sold for the sellers is valuable if they are not already working closely with a realtor who's doing the same thing. If they are within a time frame, we're getting a little bit more personalized with the properties with you makes sense. Timing is everything. Why are they making the move? And is it now or is it later? And I've said this before in this marketing idea or follow-up idea, especially if it's inside of 12 months, then it makes some sense that maybe they could use you at that moment. That timing makes sense. So that offer, the delivery of the timing of that marketing offer lands correctly. See, a lot of you will make an offer to people and say, well, that didn't work for me. What? I mean, I get it. If you don't know how to say it correctly or you don't have enthusiasm for your offering, yeah, that's on you. But like, what are you, Superman, Superwoman, that you can all of a sudden arrive at this person who, oh, that's my physical avatar. That's the young family moving up. See, that's what Danny was talking about. Here I am. I want to give you MLS X. Whoa, Trigger, take it easy, right? I don't need that right now. I'm just kind of thinking about it. I'm not even going to start this new job until next year. See, there's real life situations that cause timing to be what it is. Now, some of that timing, yes, with your service, you might be able to help. For example, if a buyer's never thought about pre-qualification and they've been dragging their feet because they have a fear that it's this big, ugly process, maybe you solve that problem. Maybe their timing becomes sooner. But you just won't know that if you don't listen to what the hero of the story needs and in what time frame. Okay? So let me hit this again. The topic here, are you delivering the right message to the right market or avatar at the right time? You need to keep asking yourself that. Put yourself on the other side. Am I saying if I were this person and I was hearing this, would this hit if my timing wasn't right? Right? Keep asking yourself that strategically. And that will be the thinking formula to get the answers to your marketing question. Should I write this Facebook ad this right way? I don't know. Is it going to go to the right avatar? And is it going to land at the right time? And if there is going to be that match, is there going to be a place for them to go next? See, it helps you think through processes, not just this micro moment where you said, well, I failed and I'm no good at real estate. Sure, you can do that. You know, that's a lot of whining and that's a lot of over exaggerating points and putting it on yourself so dramatically without ever having thought through this. That's why I do these podcasts, so I can help you get it right. Okay? So let's go through the points. Number one, define where your market is, but not just where, who, because then it allows you for the next point to say, to whom am I speaking in my ideal way? And what do they want? And then give it to them. And then when I'm giving them that thing that they wanted, then make my offer for an upgrade of my service. I'm marketing my service, make that upgrade. All right. So to chunk up the key point here, you must be intentional about defining your target market and getting the right message to them at the right time. All right. Remember, you can take immediate action to get moving in a better direction with our free video course over at freeagentgift.com. I'm telling you, that's also there to provoke the way that you think about this business, right? There's no big insider secrets on how that works. I just put it in an order for you to think. We also broadcast our live sales training calls on Facebook and YouTube every Friday at 1 o'clock EDT, unless there's a big issue. And like last week, I blew up my laptop. So remember to turn on our page and all the channel notifications so you don't miss the reminder. Also, don't forget to follow us or subscribe on whatever platform you're listening so you don't miss these insights. I think they're important for you to work into your business over time. And if you like what you learned here, then we'd appreciate it, of course, if you would share our content. Share our content. Please push it off to somebody else with other agents just like you so that they can get some help. Sharing is caring here. I'm giving to you. I ask you to pass it on. So thanks for listening. And remember, my key point here is that nobody's coming for you. So get after the work. Get after it. Go work on your business. See you in the next episode.